It is clear, therefore, from what has been said, that to be assimilated to God is the ultimate end of all things. Now that which properly has the aspect of an end is good. Things tend, therefore, to be assimilated to God properly insofar as He is good. But creatures do not achieve goodness in the same way as it is in God, although each thing imitates the divine goodness in its own way. For the divine goodness is simple, as if consisting entirely in one. For the divine being himself obtains all the fullness of perfection, as was proved in the first book. Hence, since each thing is good insofar as it is perfect, to be divine itself is its perfect goodness, to be divine himself. Again, to be divine is the very substance of God's existence, but in other cases this cannot happen. For it was shown in the second that no created substance is its own. Hence, if according to what anything is, it is good, but none of them has its own being. None of them has its own goodness. But each of them is good by participating in its goodness, just as a being is by participating in its own being. Again, not all creatures are constituted in one degree of goodness. For the substance of some is form and act. That is, according to what it is proper to be in act and to be good. But a certain substance is composed of matter and form, to which it belongs actually to be and to be good, but according to something of itself, that is, according to form. The divine substance, therefore, is its own goodness, but a simple substance partakes of goodness according to what it is, but a compound substance according to something of its own. But in this third degree of substance, there is again a diversity as regards being itself. For some of the matter and form of the compounds fulfill the whole power of the matter in the form, so that no power for another form remains in the matter, and consequently neither in any other matter does the power for this form remain. And such are the heavenly bodies, which consist of all their matter. Certain forms, however, do not fill the whole potentiality of the matter. Hence there still remains in the matter the potentiality for another form. And in another part of matter, there remains the potential for this form, as is evident in the elements and elements. But since privation is the negation in substance of that which can exist in substance, it is clear that with this form which does not fill the whole potential of matter, privation of form is joined, which indeed cannot be joined to a substance whose form fills the whole power of matter, nor to that which is form through its essence, and much less to him whose essence is his own being. Now, since it is clear that motion cannot exist where there is no power for something else, because motion is an act of existing in power, and likewise it should be evident that evil is the very privation of good, it is plain that in this last order of substances, good is changeable and having a mixture of its opposite evil, which cannot happen in the higher orders of substances. Therefore, this substance lastly mentioned, as the last degree in being, so the last degree in goodness, because motion is the act of existing in potentiality, and likewise it should be evident that evil is the very privation of good. It is plain that in this last order of substances, good is changeable and having a mixture of its opposite evil, which cannot happen in the higher orders of substances. Therefore, this substance lastly mentioned as the last degree in being, so the last degree in goodness. Because motion is the act of existing in potentiality, and likewise it should be evident that evil is the very privation of good. It is plain that in this last order of substances, good is changeable and having a mixture of its opposite evil, which cannot happen in the higher orders of substances. Therefore, this substance lastly mentioned as the last degree in being, so the last degree in goodness. Among the parts also of this substance, composed of matter and form, is found the order of goodness. For since matter is a being in power considered according to itself, form is its act, but the compound substance is actually existing through the form. The form will indeed be good in itself, but the compound substance is as it actually has the form, but matter according as it is in potential to form. And although each thing is good in so far as it is a being, it is not necessary that matter, which is a being only in potential, be good only in potential. For being is said absolutely, but good also consists in order. For something is not called good only because it is an end, or because it is attaining an end, but even if it has not yet reached its end, provided it is directed to an end, it is called good from this very fact. Matter, therefore, cannot simply be called a being from the fact that it is a potential being, in which the order to be is implied. But from this it can simply be said to be good, because of the order itself, in which it appears that good is in a certain way a larger sphere than being. For which reason Dionysius says, chapter 4 of De Divinis Nominibus, that good extends to existence and non-existence. For even non-existence itself, that is, matter as it is understood to be subject to privation, desires good, that is, to be. From this it is clear that it is also good, for good desires nothing but good. There is also another way in which the goodness of creatures falls short of divine goodness. For as has been said, God obtains the highest perfection of goodness in his own being. But a created thing does not possess its perfection in one, but in many. For what is united in the highest is found multiple in the lowest. Hence, God is said to be virtuous, wise, and active according to the same thing, but the creature is said to be different according to the same. And the perfect goodness of any creature requires a greater complexity, the more it is found to be distant from the first goodness. But if he cannot attain perfect goodness, he will retain imperfect goodness in a few. And hence it is that, although the first and highest good is absolutely simple, and the substances which are close to it in goodness should be alike, and as regards simplicity, yet the lowest substances are found to be simpler than some of the superior ones. It is therefore evident from what has been said that, although God according to his simple being is perfect, and has all his goodness, yet creatures do not attain to the perfection of their goodness through their being alone, but through many things. Hence, that although each of them is good in so far as it is, yet it cannot simply be called good if others lack what is required for its goodness. Just as a man who, deprived of virtue, is subject to vices, is indeed said to be good in a certain sense, namely, in so far as he is a being, and in so far as he is a man, however not simply good, but rather bad. Therefore, it is not the same for each of the creatures to be and to be good simply, although each of them is good in so far as it is. But to God, being and being good are simply the same thing. But if everything tends to the likeness of the divine goodness as to the end, but something is likened to divine goodness as far as all that pertains to one's own goodness. Now the goodness of a thing consists not only in its being, but in all the other things which are required for its perfection, as has been shown. It is clear that things are ordered to God as an end, not only according to its substantial being, but also according to those things which happen to it pertaining to its perfection, and also according to the proper operation, which also pertains to the perfection of the thing.